Well, welcome back to the Journey to Jerusalem as we today enter into the third week of Lent. Jesus has come, and mercy now has a name. Second week of Lent was all about mercy, and mercy has a name, and his name is Jesus. He has come to bring glad tidings to the poor, liberty to captives, recovery of sight to the blind, and to let the oppressed go free. Yes, mercy has come. However, not all the followers are ready for the boundaries to be pushed. Not everyone is ready for mercy. In this third week of Lent, we will continue walking with Jesus. His mercy will transform the lives of the poor, the shamed, and the outcast. It will also challenge the unyielding rigidity of the scribes and Pharisees. His mercy will engender hope. His mercy will push the limits. And his mercy will cause scandal. Intrigued with Jesus and his radical message of mercy, we read in Luke 7, verse 36, that a Pharisee invited Jesus to dine with him, and he entered the Pharisee's house and reclined at table. However, the scene shifts in verses 37 and 38 as we read, "Now there was a sinful woman in the city who learned that Jesus was at table in the house of the Pharisee. Bringing an alabaster flask of ointment, she stood behind him at his feet weeping, and began to bathe his feet with her tears. She then wiped them with her hair, kissed them, and anointed them with the ointment." Who is she? Who is this inspiring woman so moved that she began weeping and soon bathed his feet with her tears? Perhaps she was one among the crowds who heard last week's mercy-filled story of the prodigal son and the father who looked at him with compassion. Perhaps she was in the crowds when Jesus healed the woman with the hemorrhage. Perhaps she, like others, was shocked when Jesus raised the official's daughter from death. Perhaps she was just one of the crowds on the outskirts of society whose heart was moved with Jesus' message of mercy. But you can know that if she was in those crowds, she was definitely on the outskirts. She was on the fringe. The scriptures say that she was a sinful woman. She didn't fit into the Jewish codes and categories. More than likely, she lived isolated and alone and yearned for love and mercy. As she learned that Jesus was at the table of the Pharisee, she is filled with contrition that can only be described as heartfelt sorrow compelled by mercy. Thus she stood behind him, weeping at his feet. Contrition. She was moved with contrition. It's a difference between being sorry for our sins because we've disappointed ourselves and our quest for self-perfection, as opposed to true contrition because we have truly sinned against God. When we encounter Jesus, we encounter pure love. Then we truly realize who he really is. And we see our sins for what they really are. Ungrateful rejections of his desire to love us. That's contrition. Real contrition. That's why she wept. She was truly sorry and contrite. And what about you? What has Jesus done for you? Again, trust the process, but I'm going to ask us to ask ourselves, how have we taken his mercy for granted? He's full of mercy, but sometimes we can take it for granted. Where is there ingratitude in our response? So he's merciful, and sometimes our response is not gratitude. Sometimes it's ingratitude. Let's look at our hearts today and ask yourself about, where are you with real contrition? For your prayer today, I would encourage you to pray with Luke chapter 7, verse 36 through 38. Luke 7, 36 to 38. Be with Jesus in the home of that Pharisee. And to be with that woman as she cries. Just got to close your eyes and visualize the scene. Be one of the characters in the scene. Maybe you're the woman who's crying. Maybe you're the Pharisee at the table. Maybe you're just a follower, a servant in the house and observing the whole thing. But be there. Watch her tears. What stirs within your heart as she's crying at his feet? What stirs within you as you look at your response to God's love? Jesus, we long for inner peace and freedom. And we desire to have nothing prevent us from receiving the fullness of your personal love for me. God bless you.